Hello and welcome to VTV News Studio here in Hanoi. I'm Michael Liu and here's the hottest news coming your way. Latest update on National Assembly's working sessions with amendments to Penal Code discussed. Malaysia breaks through as the second biggest foreign investor in Vietnam with major power plant project. Then third ASEAN Defence Ministers Meeting Plus Conference for the Expert Working Group on Humanitarian Mine Action takes place. Now, first off, during its morning working session on October the 30th, the National Assembly discussed 14 issues of the draft amended Penal Code. Items on the agenda included whether or not the death penalty should be imposed on criminals of corruption and drug trafficking, the liability of legal entities, social insurance evasion, and the production and sale of counterfeit medicines.
Most delegates agreed that changes in the amended Penal Code upheld the spirit of justice reform and complied with Vietnam's commitment to international treaties on human rights. In discussing certain articles, some delegates said that a criminal's cooperation with an investigation should only help reduce, not eliminate their sentence.
Leniency to criminals should only be allowed if criminals show their repentance during the investigation. If a criminal were to repent after a death penalty was pronounced, they may only do so because they fear death, not because they are sincere. Many criminals wait for their sentence before showing remorse. Thus, this issue should be excluded from the code.
In discussing provisions on corruption crimes, delegates said that the concept of asking for bribe was still vague, which may create loopholes, thereby abetting the behavior.
I think this issue should be excluded. Many people do not agree with this. I heard a minister say that no state officials ask for bribes, yet people keep bribing.
Some also suggested that the amended Penal Code should clearly define the liabilities of legal entities and the right of workers when an entity is prosecuted. Delegates added that there should also be penalties for manufacturing and trafficking counterfeit drugs, as well as social insurance fraud among businesses.
The draft law on information and security will be eagerly anticipated by people working in the country's IT sector. National Assembly deputies have been keen to comment on the draft legislation as the country needs a more modern approach to information security. More in the following report.
The Information Security Bill has captured the imagination of National Assembly deputies, individuals, and IT businesses. It should play a vital role in providing the legal framework for the development of the country's information and communication technology sector.
Vietnam is seeing rapid change in terms of information and technology. However, our country also faces risks threatening information security. We are in need of strengthening information security and network safety.
Có những cái biện pháp để ngăn chặn thì chắc chắn chúng ta sẽ bị ảnh hưởng rất lớn.
Trong quá trình lấy ý kiến thì
Many deputies believe that the law on information security should have been drafted much earlier. It is beneficial to minimize the spread of negative information threatening social security. Many deputies have given their comments related to three issues of the draft law on information security, including businesses in information security, management of cryptography, and even the name of legislation. Until now, the draft law on information security has been renamed as the draft law on Internet information security.
Vietnam currently has a weak legal framework in terms of Internet information security, and it is hoped the law will help improve matters as well as establish technical barriers in accordance with international practices, creating an equal environment for Vietnam's IT enterprises.
The law regulates individuals' responsibilities in ensuring information protection. There are also sanctions to deal with information security violation, ensure the society's stability as well as security.
của xã hội.
If the draft law on information security is passed, Vietnam will become the third country in Asia to apply a law on network information security, as well as generating stable legal framework for information networks.
The government has proposed a range of amendments to the current law on import duty and export duty to support domestic enterprises as Vietnam is heading for greater international economic integration. As scheduled, the drafts will be submitted to the National Assembly for passage at the year-end session. The business community will be directly affected by these legal documents. So how has it responded to the draft law? Let's find out in our following report.
The draft includes protection for locally made goods, regulations on trade remedies, including anti-dumping taxes, anti-subsidy measures, and safeguards for the first time will be adopted into this law.
Anti-dumping taxes should be enshrined in law, while Vietnam is integrating profiling into the global market. The country's domestic products have not been well protected. Therefore, domestic industry are being heavily affected by trade practices by foreign companies. As trade barriers have been eliminated, competition is become fiercer, so dumping is threatening the operations of Vietnamese enterprises.
The draft law also significantly reduces import tariffs on high-tech goods in sectors of scientific research, healthcare, and environmental protection, providing those goods have yet to be produced domestically.
I think this is a proper policy. It gives a boost to domestic manufacturing sector, meanwhile attracting more foreign investment and purchases. The market economy allows foreign imports to Vietnam. However, when the domestic manufacturing sector has not been established, local producers will be put at a disadvantage.
Enterprises also suggested that the National Assembly should introduce more policies to support agriculture and exports, prevent tax refund fraud, and streamline tax declarations and payment procedures. These provisions are considered compatible with Vietnam's international commitments.
In some other news, Da Nang authorities collaborated with a local branch of the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry to host a conference today on attracting investment and commercial development to adapt to the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The event attracted over 300 representatives from government agencies and international and domestic businesses as well as organisations. The event created an opportunity to gain a better understanding of the TPP and exchange knowledge about trade and economic development. Moreover, participants revealed preparations they had made for the TPP to arrive. The American Chamber of Commerce in Vietnam also gave guidance to local businesses for effectively attracting FDI in the coming time. Now, Malaysia is now the second biggest foreign investor in Vietnam as of October. The nation comes just behind South Korea, according to statistics from the Ministry of Planning and Investment. Malaysia brings a total capital of $2.53 billion into the country. 2.4 billion of these comes from the Duyên Hải 2 power plant investment project in the southern province of Cha Vinh. Japan now ranks third with $1.48 billion in investments, and the UK fourth with $1.27 billion. Total FDI into Vietnam as of 2015 now stands at $19 billion, a 40.8% increase from the same period last year. In recent years, numerous foreign companies have invested in Vietnam's retail market, especially those from Japan. Vietnam has also officially lifted the ownership cap for foreign investors in the sector. And with the Trans-Pacific Partnership negotiations recently concluded, the number of Japanese retail businesses in Vietnam will continue to grow.
Aeon Mall Long Bien celebrated its grand opening on October the 28th. This is the third of Japan's single largest shopping malls developers and operators in Vietnam. Aeon also purchased large stakes in City Mark and Phoebe Mark supermarket chains.
We will continue to expand our shopping malls network in Vietnam. Ideally, there should be one shopping mall per million people. Therefore, in the coming time, we should have 10 others in each city of Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City.
Aeon is not only Japanese retailer expanding operations in Vietnam. Having its first store open in Ho Chi Minh City in 2013, so far Phi Mart has nearly 7 stores nationwide. The convenience store chain aims to increase its number of branches to 1,000 by 2020. Other Japanese companies are also looking into Vietnam's retail market.
We have just decided to invest in Vietnam. We will start our plan with establishing a shopping center in Ho Chi Minh City next year.
Despite recognizing Vietnam as an attractive destination, Japanese firms have also faced difficulties when doing business in Vietnam.
Besides infrastructure and human resources, we are facing difficulties in terms of administrative procedures and logistics. Japanese enterprises usually find it difficult due to underperforming logistics. We hope that the Vietnamese government will grant more preferential policies to Japanese investors.
Vietnam and Japan are possible members of the TPP. If the trade deal comes into effect, about 10,000 products from its member countries will enjoy preferential tariffs. This will also be another good reason for Japanese businesses to invest in Vietnam.
Vietnamese products were promoted on Thursday morning in Lotte Mart supermarket in the South Korean capital of Seoul. The event was co-organized by Vietnam's Ministry of Industry and Trade and South Korea's Lotte Group. This is the second time Vietnamese products have benefited from promotions in all 7 of Lotte's supermarkets in the capital. More than 200 items valued at around $750,000 were highlighted to Korean shoppers, including agricultural, forestry and seafood products, all at competitive prices. The activity was part of attempts to promote Vietnamese products in Japanese, South Korean, Singaporean, Russian, French and German supermarkets. Say no to fipronil. This recommendation has been given to both farmers and enterprises in the tea business. Fipronil is a broad use of insecticide that leaves residues on tea, the reason behind Taiwan rejecting 22 batches of Vietnamese tea earlier this year. Without the use of fipronil, Vietnamese tea products are guaranteed safe, meeting exports requirements. Our reports from Lâm Đồng province will tell you more.
2 months ago, over 2,000 tons of tea in Lâm Đồng province was backlogged because 22 consignments of tea, equivalent to 80 tons, had been returned by Taiwanese exporters. The reason was that fipronil residues on tea products exceeded Taiwan's maximum level of 0.002 parts per million.
At that time, farmers faced losses when their tea was rejected. My business was also affected. Now things are more clear since we have restricted the use of chemicals.
Lâm Đồng province currently leads the country in tea production area and output. 23,000 hectares, producing 223,000 tons of tea each year. The rejection of Vietnamese tea shipments also meant the need for timely adjustments in the entire production chain.
Taiwanese authorities reduced the maximum residue level of fipronil from 0.005 to 0.002 parts per million. Now, Vietnamese producers have no other way but to stop using this chemical.
According to experts, the new limit of fipronil residue essentially means a ban on the chemical. The Lâm Đồng agricultural sector has set a target to remove this insecticide from local tea products by 2016.
From now on, we will inform farmers and organize training courses for them on how to properly use pesticides and herbicides. They will only be able to use chemicals approved by authorities.
Current provisions on chemical residues still remain a hurdle for Vietnamese tea production. The recent case of Vietnam's failed tea export has served as a lesson for the tea industry and related sectors to fully comply with regulations on production safety.
So how's the Vietnam Dong performing at the moment? Let's find out in our following charts. Still to come on VTV News, the third ASEAN Defence Ministers Meeting Plus Conference for the Experts Working Group on Humanitarian Mine Action takes place. Then later on, Vietnamese immersed in Polish political life as Polish of Vietnamese descent triumphs in the election. Welcome back to VTV News. Now, the third ASEAN Defence Ministers Meeting Plus Conference for the Experts Working Group on Humanitarian Mine Action took place on Thursday in Hue. The event was hosted by the Defence Ministers of Vietnam and India. It saw the participation of ASEAN member representatives as well as their partner countries.
At the middle of the planning conference,
water and sea pollution caused by mines and explosives has dominated the discussion table. How to combat these issues, ideas and proposals of cooperation were raised at the conference.
Good morning, everyone. The role of this Discipline Plus is only to cooperate, coordination among the ASEAN and the Plus countries, and as well as collaborating not only in terms of training but also on the demining efforts.
This conference with Vietnam and India co-chairing the regional approach to clearing of mines, I think it's an excellent approach. You can't do things by yourself. You do need regional partners and you do need technical assistance from others. So I think this forum is excellent for identifying different approaches that may be more suitable to what you're doing.
Vietnam has suffered the severe consequences of landmines and explosives following the American War. They have had a negative impact on environment as well as socio-economic development of Vietnam, especially in the country's central region. Vietnam, therefore, has actively engaged in the conference and proposed a number of highly appreciated initiatives.
In the past, we have exchanged experiences clearing explosive devices on the land. Now we are expanding our work to rivers and the sea. Countries which experience war often have many underwater mines. Therefore, our proposed topics of water and sea pollution receive strong support from other countries.
I would like to first
the ASEAN Defence Ministers Meeting Plus, or ADMM Plus, is an important multilateral defence cooperation forum and provides a point for all member countries to raise their interests and concerns and boost cooperation. The establishment and development of the ADMM Plus Experts Group on Humanitarian Mine Actions since May 2013 has exemplified the forum's effectiveness.
I would like to first
Still in the defence sector, a senior delegation from the Ministry of National Defence led by Deputy Minister Senior Lieutenant General Do Ba Thi paid a working visit to Cuba on October the 25th to the 28th to tighten cooperative relations between the two armies and nations. At the reception for Senior Lieutenant General Do Ba Thi, who is also Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army, Cuban President Raul Castro underlined his determination to strengthen the time-honoured relationship between Vietnamese and Cuban armed forces. The Cuban president expressed the delight at the in-depth cooperation between the two nations in national defence and said that the fruitful links will contribute to enhancing their national military capacity. President Raul Castro emphasized that military cooperation will be the symbol of faithful and friendship cooperation between the two nations. Now, Poland's Eurosceptic Law and Justice Party claimed victory on Sunday and secured 37.7% of the vote in the country's election. Joining the race for Polish Parliament this term was a candidate of Vietnamese origin. The Vietnamese community has been taking on increasingly active roles in the country's political life. Our reports from Poland will give you more.
The Eurosceptic Law and Justice Party, or PIS, has become the first party to win an outright majority of the Polish parliament since 1989. The party secured 235 of 460 seats in parliament's lower chamber. Đảng Vân Anh 29 is a member of the Poland Together Party, a newly established platform attracting about 300,000 Polish voters in support. Despite not achieving its desired result, having a Vietnamese representative actively participating in the country's political arena can only serve to heighten the role and position of Vietnamese in Poland.
The participation of Vietnamese people in Poland's political system shows their active role and integration into the country. Recently, I nominated myself to the Self-Governing Council of Warsaw. The Vietnamese community has integrated well into society. During Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng visit to Poland, Polish Prime Minister Jarosław Kaczyński praised the Vietnamese community for their achievements and contributions to the country. They are appreciated for their hard work and creativity. Kaczynski also considered Vietnam an important partner and point of entry into the ASEAN.
Nevertheless, the Eurosceptic Law and Justice Party, or PIS, was regarded as socially conservative during the election. They opposed taking immigrants fleeing wars. This is likely to cause conflicts with the Vietnamese community here.
Of the 30,000 Vietnamese living in Poland, only 4,000 are Polish passport holders. A large part of the community supported the pro-EU civic platform, which has more open policies for immigrants. However, the PIS party always upholds law enforcement and justice, so Vietnamese typically welcome the new rules set by them.
Despite a limited success in Poland's elections, Vietnam's active participation in Polish political life will help the Vietnamese community integrate more deeply into the country and affirm their position in Poland.
A conference to discuss the life and achievements of local and national hero Huỳnh Thúc Kháng was hosted in the south-central province of Quảng Nam. The event aims to honour his crucial role in the Duy Tân modernisation movement and the revolutionary governments. The conference features 13 theses and documents on the life and achievements of the character during his first 30 years of his life. Information gathered at the event will be combined with that from the event in Hanoi to construct a biography of the Vietnamese patriot. Once published, the book will become a national document and will be popularized by the government through education system. Now, 93 chefs from southern Vietnam took part in the semi-final round of the 2015 Golden Spoon contest in Ho Chi Minh City. At the event, chefs introduced their best dishes made from traditional Vietnamese spices.
100 dishes made through creative recipes. They reveal the variety of Vietnam's regional cuisine. It may be the combination of vegetables in the south or the unique savor of the highlands. These chefs are about providing diners with unforgettable culinary journeys.
So what I can say about why an artist, since the 2 days we are standing here, with the team. Well, an artist that there is quite an exciting improvement. The chefs are, doing a lot better than.
Each dish has an impressive story about its journey from farm to the dinner table. Special ingredients such as palm, fire banana, or white canarium are the signature foods of the Vietnamese countryside.
We hope the organizer will continue to coordinate with the Department of Tourism to introduce Vietnamese food to tourists and friends all over the world.
The Golden Spoon is the largest food festival in Vietnam and should provide an opportunity for chefs across the country to promote Vietnamese culinary traditions to the world. The 15 top chefs will compete in the final round, set to be held in the southern province of Bình Dương this December.
Now we have some great news coming from the 2015 World Travel Awards. Vietnam's only representative, Viet Travel, took home the titles of Asia's and Vietnam's leading travel agency. Since 1993, these awards have been granted to top tourism service providers around the world. This is the third time Viet Travel has received this honour. According to experts, the company's success highlights the significant standing of Vietnamese tourism on the world stage. The 20-year-old travel agency is known for its consistency in innovation, diversity and product quality. Viet Travel plans to achieve 1 million orders by 2020 and maintain the top 10 position in Asia. The 19th annual Vietnam Film Festival will kick off on December the 1st and run until the 5th in Ho Chi Minh City, according to an announcement made by organisers today. 50 movies have been entered to compete in the festival. This year's Lotus Awards for films and individuals will still be decided by a panel of judges. However, some new awards introduced this year will be determined by public votes. The festival aims to honour movies that portray cultural beauty, humanity and creativity. More importantly, it is a chance to honour notable film artists of both past and present. Now let's check out the latest weather forecast of selected cities around the world. That's it for our newscast. Now please log on to vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go for more of our content. Goodbye for now and see you in the last bulletin of the day.